Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Coma Cast. We thank you for joining us here for another episode. Today, our topic is going to be something Matt is going to surprise me with. I have no idea what it is, but Matt, I thought this was interesting, though, to start off real quick. That, of course, everybody knows and should go get this, but Matt did write a book. We haven't talked about it much. We haven't been here much. But if you haven't read it, you can go get it on Amazon. But you also had told me you're like, in between trying to work in nursing and everything, you have kind of done a little bit of book work for the sequel.
Yeah, I've written about over between a quarter and a half of it. I mapped out the third and fourth book. Like I know kind of like the skeleton of what I want, but I don't know what people's writing processes are. I don't even like to talk about how I think about it because I have no idea what's right. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But I sort of just write what I wanted to happen, and then I worked backwards to how would a character come up with that. And then some of the stuff I'm like, oh, there's a couple different options. Nah, I'll work it out when I get to the end. Because I don't know, like I had my heart set on few different things when I was trying to write out the first one. And I got to the end, I'm like, well, this don't make no damn sense. So I just changed it. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I can do that. I never took a creative writing class. So I don't know what I'm doing. One of my goals when I'm done with nursing is to be able to pay to send it to an editor. And I would love to pitch it to somebody, like a completely edited book. Now that I've done it myself, I just had to do it myself. Like I had to touch it myself. It had to be my ideas. And then now I'm okay. Now I'm like, all right, because that's what I want to do for fun. That's what brings me peace.
I brought up the book thing with you because obviously here in America, we have this whole big issue going on with people
Banning
wanting to
books.
ban
My book
books.
would be banned in a school.
But what I just came across is in the UK, LGBTQ bookstores are now thriving. They're selling tons of books. It's really become like a good industry in the UK, and I thought that was like a really good story to read amongst all the other book oriented stories that is going on in America. And as we can attest, they are popular because it's not necessarily a book. It's like I don't even know what you would call it. It's like a book comic kind of situation, but Heartstopper is obviously super, super popular, and it's been super, super popular as it's been turning into a TV show on Netflix. So the UK, thriving LGBTQ bookstores.
Okay, well that makes more sense. I had no idea why you brought it up, and I'm like, you don't like to read. Why are we talking about this? But okay, I'm gonna roll with it.
Yeah, but you love to read and write, and at some point
Very
I'm going to read the
excited
book.
when school's done. I have a couple of books I've been wanting to read, and so I'm really looking forward to just connecting. And I'm really sorry. I hope I don't sound as probably as bad as I actually feel.
No, you.
It's just sinuses. It's just like that drainage in your throat, and that just like But so
Yeah, he's just turned into a 60-year-old smoker.
yeah, right. So what I wanted to talk about today was comments on people's bodies. Now, Cody and I have obviously talked about body image, body positivity, and we are both aware of what we look like. We know that conventionally we are considered not bridge trolls. Depending if you log on Grindr and they're like, oh, I don't like this about you, and they like tell you everything they don't like about you. But we are also old enough that we don't really give a fuck. But something what I specifically wanted to talk about was a comment I got from a friend who asked me a question because I'm pretty open about my health. I'm pretty open about why I work out, why I go to the gym. And yeah, we should all try to like exercise and take care of ourselves. And that's why I keep a very realistic workout. I am not powerlifting and Olympic training in any way. I just try to stay healthy because I have lupus, and diet and exercise really help. So said friend asked me for, like, because I'm on an oral form of minoxidil, which is Rogaine. There's the foam or the serum you put in your scalp for guys. Well, they have an oral form of it that has been pretty successful, and that's why a lot of my hair is growing back. My hair fell out because of nutritional deficiencies and vitamin deficiencies and lupus, all kind of one. And my testosterone bottomed out. When that happens, that will also cause hair loss. So it's been really unfortunate. And along the other tons of symptoms it causes that make day-to-day life not very fun for me. So during periods of flare-ups, I'm very uncomfortable and I'm in a lot of pain, and it's miserable, and it's frustrating, and it's really hard to understand why your body's doing that when you look fine. Like today, my rash which is normally all over my cheeks, is actually having a pretty good day. When I step outside into the sun, even just walk to the mailbox, that will probably change. So I'm going to enjoy this moment where my cheeks feel like mine. They feel a little dry, like touching them, but
Yeah.
it's not a dry like your fingers when you rub lotion on them. It's like a deeper dryness than that. And the only cure is really not cure, but sometimes they respond to steroid shots. So said person is asking me about this. I'm explaining why I take it, what it does, and that the doctor, I was for Dr. Jake. I gave him Dr. Jake's information. He's been a longtime friend of mine, and I trust him with my life. You know, we've been
Yeah.
friends for like 12 years. And I said, he also manages my testosterone. And he goes, oh, you're on testosterone. I said, yeah, I have to be, you know, because mine crashed below the at the minimal levels. We do not feel good. I think depending on the state, the hospital, the doctor, the protocol is a little different, but our levels are between like 300 and 900, and that's considered a healthy range. Bodybuilders are in like 4,000 and 5,000 range, like for perspective. That's why a lot of them that are on high doses of T or whatever steroid they're using, that's a lot of times why they have thin or no hair, because high levels of testosterone and low levels of testosterone will cause similar, you know, that particular symptom, which is the one most people notice. They think of the stacked bald bodybuilder who's jacked, you know, not everybody, but it can cause, it does tend, that's what you're looking at. Not always, for the people who might create a soundbite out of this, but a person told me, oh, well, that's like basically that's the key to your hotness was the words used. And I went, fuck you. I'm fighting an autoimmune disease that kicks my ass 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I've been feeling the symptoms of it since I was 16. And when I have periods of complete rest where I feel great for like a month, sometimes a month or two, I will feel totally on top of the world. And my body's just like, okay, you're fine. And then you get used to not feeling that discomfort and pain. And then it hits you on a random Tuesday at 1:00 and you're like, oh shit. And it is incredibly painful, because pain that's normally maybe a 3 out of 10 to you, when you have chronic pain, your body adjusts to it and you just sort of are fine. I mean, you're not happy about it, but I can afford, I can go to work, I can go to school, I can function just fine. When you haven't had it in a long time and then it hits you like a truck, then you feel really bad, and it feels more like an 8 because it's coming out of nowhere and your hands suddenly cramp really bad while you're holding a game controller, writing, doing whatever. Now, the more sedentary I am, the worse it is. But the comment bothered me so much is because it was a friend of mine who then said, well, I didn't mean to suggest you took it for funsies, and I had no idea you had lupus. You don't need to know somebody's medical history to understand that it's none of your business, and to make comments like that is not helpful. I was only bothered by it because it was a friend. And had it been a total stranger, and by the way, this friend would know if they spoke to me about more than their dick. This is why you don't open every conversation with a dick pic and read the room when I'm not responding, or anybody's not responding. So you would know, you know, because I'm pretty open about it. Because why are you laying in bed, Matt? Well, lupus is kicking my ass, and it's taking me an extra 30 minutes to like convince myself to walk to the bathroom to pee because my shins hurt and are on fire right now. And in a few minutes, they'll probably stop hurting. So I'm trying to just wait it out. As we sit here, my knees feel like I've been cracked with a hammer, more like a rubber mallet, because I can flex them. The pain is the same if I flex on them or not. So, you know, and that's just as we're sitting here. And it bothered me so much because this is somebody that knows me. This isn't a random stranger. Random strangers on the internet saying shit to me. I don't care. I know that I don't look sick. And I know that I don't look like I don't feel good. I know that I don't present that. So it doesn't bother me. But in 2023, I think we should be aware enough that things that are going on in people's lives don't have to be written all over their face. And in my case, it literally is. Most days, my rash is beet red. Like, it is a perfect butterfly right across my cheeks. It didn't used to be. It just used to be under one side in one little square. And it is officially spread from eye to eye. Like, it's the complete butterfly. And it bothered me. It really bothered me because, you know, it didn't help. One, like, how is that helpful? And two, and I said, well, I've only been on testosterone for a year. So if you thought it was fuckable more than a year ago, then it's not the testosterone, dumbass. And also, I'm like, I happen to have tried to take care of myself because I figured out in my 20s that I would go jogging with a friend and then I wouldn't have any pain and I'd feel great. I'm like, oh, exercise seems to help. So I figured that out really early on. And my grandparents tried to encourage me to eat right, or if I ever wanted to go jogging or get into weightlifting, they were like, yeah, do something for your health. They did not take the best care of themselves. They were not fitness fanatics at all. But they did encourage me to take care of my own body as best I could.
I think going to what you're talking about of people like making comments or making maybe judgments, that, and we've seen this in the past a lot, and people doing this and making judgments on making comments just out of nowhere about
People are
people.
really comfortable saying things to me.
Yeah,
They are
and it's
really
like,
comfortable saying things to me.
even if you don't know somebody has a health issue, you don't know that they don't have one, you know? I always go back to like a lot of people were publicly making comments about Chadwick Boseman and the way he looked and like stuff. And
Right.
ultimately, he was going through
He
colon
was stage
cancer.
4 colon cancer, right.
And
And
people were just making fun of him and making jokes, and it's like, you don't know what people are going through. And as you're saying, there's autoimmune diseases a lot of times are hidden diseases or things that you can't always see, but the person feels them and they're affecting the person. So when you make comments, about what maybe someone is doing, you
yeah,
don't know what they're actually going through.
and the person, I lashed out a bit. I was like, "That's so unhelpful," and I was like, "Do you see why this is rude?" Like, that kinda comment is so unhelpful, and, because even in this, like, all I said, all testosterone does for me, personally, is um it took the edge off the excessive fatigue I feel, which with that spare time, I have to go to the gym, be up and about, move around, but my instinct is literally to not get up. It's to retreat to the couch because a lot of times it's the only time I feel comfortable because I'm too tired to get up. And I am only 36 and I have felt this way since I was probably 25. Like this level of it, I have felt since I was 24, 25. It was shortly after I stopped working at Disney that I remember suddenly not being able to like want to go and spend the day at Disney. And now I
Yeah.
can go, but like if we were to go to Disney for the week, day 1 is going to be a shorter day. I can't do it. Like I have to like kind of be prepped for it. And now, but I can get worked up to that point because I'm not old at all, but my body definitely, I have to listen to it. It just doesn't matter. But it just, it's something we should, like you said, we should always be mindful of. Like I was reading an interview from somebody who had done a movie with Chadwick Boseman, not the Marvel movies, but it was another movie he had done.
Hmm.
It was his last project. And he's like, oh, I thought this guy was kind of a diva. He had an acupuncturist, massage therapist,
Mm.
because he was dealing with cancer pain and trying to deal with this movie and didn't want to make an announcement and didn't want to talk about it. And you shouldn't have to. I mean,
Yeah.
Dustin Diamond got sick, also known as Screech, and he died from small cell lung cancer. Went from diagnosis to death was like 4 weeks. He had never been a smoker, you know?
Yeah.
Um, like people, you can have non-alcohol related cirrhosis, like through fatty liver. I don't need reminded that I'm not well. Like, and when people make comments about it, a lot of times what people will say, like when a bunch of my hair fell out was, oh, we can't even tell. I'm like, I'm not concerned about it because you can tell or can't tell.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about it because when I run my finger, when I'm sitting in class and I go like this and my hair feels like gross sandpaper, it's because I know something's wrong. And you're telling your doctors and nobody's listening. So, you still have to advocate for yourself. And my doctor, when I got the results, because with lupus, you're not officially diagnosed until your immune response is at a certain number out of 9. And mine is like a 3.
Yeah.
7 is the number, but I have the exact same symptoms as my aunt, and I have the face rash. Most days it's bright red. And if you go back into our old recordings, you can see some days. And some days it's bright red and I feel fine, and other days it's not bright at all and I don't feel great. Today is one. Today is the latter. I don't feel great today.
I think people should maybe put themselves in other shoes. What would they feel
Right.
if someone was making comments toward them? Or,
How would
I
you
think that
feel
would
if
change a
somebody
lot
said
of
that about your
perspective.
mom? How would you feel if somebody said that about your partner, your friend, or you? Or, if you can't do it for yourself, you think of somebody else. But um, inherently, we tend to think about ourselves. People do feel very comfortable. I shared this with another friend who I was just very upset, and I was leaving school that day, and he pointed it out to me because I'd forgotten. He's like, people make very uncomfortable comments to you and sometimes publicly. Yeah, I don't know why people feel like I'm aware of what I post, but in nothing is that an invitation to be gross with somebody. One, you don't know me and I don't know you. And two, you know, how I look is a byproduct of me trying to take care of myself to combat an autoimmune disease. So while I appreciate that people appreciate that I exercise and I try to promote fitness and health, it's not because I think everybody should have an 8-pack. I don't have an 8-pack. I'm just saying, hey, let's all try to take care of ourselves, because a lot of us are living with an autoimmune disease or an issue that hasn't even surfaced yet, and it's going to.
Guys, we want to thank you for joining us here for another episode. Basically, don't judge other people if you don't know what they're going through, because you don't know what they're going through. Just be nice to people. There's no reason to judge people and be rude to people.
I'm going to teach you guys something that we use in nursing. It's an intervention we use that helps with people that might be stressed, upset, or any sort of heightened emotion. And it's called silence. Sometimes just your presence is enough.
Man, Matt, that's so hard.
It really is. It really fucking is for some people. And, Johnny Apollo pointed out to me, he's like, well, Matt, not everybody went to nursing school. I said, well, you don't need nursing school to know to sometimes that shut the fuck up is an actual, sometimes doing that before someone needs to say that to you is kind of learning. It's part of learning to read a room. And, if you're concerned about my health, then by all means, I am very open about it. So I know that invites conversation, and I'm fine with that. If you have a question or something you don't understand, I don't have a problem explaining myself, because I know that by posting it on a public forum, I'm inviting conversation. But that is not permission to just make assumptions. And the assumption was, I've noticed connections, correlation between guys that are on testosterone and guys that I find attractive. Yes, because testosterone helps me work out. It helps me stay not as exhausted. So I have the energy to put that time back into working out. However, I did that before a year ago. I'm basically where I was 2 years ago now. That's the only difference, So, but yes, thank you all for listening, and I appreciate it. If you have any questions or you ever want us to do an episode on something, by all means, reach out. We love looking up stuff and talking about other stuff. Not to say that we'd be experts on it, but I think good conversation.
I don't know what you're talking about, Matt. I'm always an expert.
You always try to pull something on me and be like, well, look at this thing I found. I'm like, oh yeah, I read that article. You're like, why? It's from 2002. I'm like, I know, I was reading through something else.
No, if you want to judge Matt by anything, judge that he's very strange.
I know. I do weird shit. And my doctor's like, you might be. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Okay, everybody. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
So, hey guys, we want to remind everyone that you can keep in touch with us on all of our social media channels, whether that is Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You can do all of that at the Coma Cast.
And we definitely love to interact and hear from all of our listeners. All of this is not possible without you guys.